Hello, this is Dread, and in today's video topic, we are going to be covering Clone Runemaster. Yes, you heard that right. Clones. So if you don't know, there's a node or a few nodes inside Teleport's tree that summons a bunch of clones of you to fight enemies. These minions, they scale off of minion stats, of course, and they fire either a cold tornado, a fireball, or a lightning blast at enemies. Their base cast time is absolutely horrendous, and they do no damage. But if you're sadistic, like I am, you can actually try to make them deal damage. This time, we're trying to utilize the gigantic Ignite minion staff, and that alone almost makes them do some kind of damage. Almost. It's close, okay? The biggest problem with them right now, as it stands, is they are very, very, very weak, even with as much intelligence scaling and as minion health as I can possibly get on them. They literally fall over with any kind of damage. I actually had to reduce my corruption a little bit so that I could fight this Lagan for you guys. And yes, if you're wondering, it takes well over 8 minutes to kill this Lagan. So, well, at least we're killing him faster than Acid Flask does, at the very least. Uh, Now, if it hasn't been apparent already, don't play this build. Don't. I wasn't even planning on uploading this video, but I thought, why not? Let's have some fun. Let's showcase some wacky, zany stuff that you can do in the game. Now, of course, this isn't going to be a full build guide, of course, because this isn't really what I would call a build. This is more of a funny thing you can do. Now, things that I wish that the clones actually did. I wish that the clones, I wish they scaled their attack and cast speed with intelligence. And they actually scaled their damage with intelligence. So if you don't know, they have really wonky attribute scaling. Most minions in the entire game, they scale 4% increased damage and flat HP per intelligence that you put on, or per attribute. And these guys, they only scale with health for some reason. So I have 76 intelligence that doesn't really do much for me, even though it should give me a decent amount of percentage damage. I don't know why they decided to specifically do this. I don't think they assumed anyone was actually going to try doing this, so I guess maybe that's the case. Now, what's kind of funny is there's actually a lot of support for this archetype, unironically. So if you utilize Glyph of Dominion, you can actually give them 40% increased chance to ignite. Ooh, I know that doesn't sound like much, but when they start out with 200% because of the Dragonflame Edict staff, that's a lot of damage extra. There's also a node in Glyph of Dominion that also gives your allies standing in it 14% more damage based on armor shred stacks. Ooh, right? So we got 14% more damage here as well, boys. We're starting to do great. These mages, I'll be honest, there's a good base to them. They could almost work. The first thing I would do is completely remove the HP scaling at all. They don't need to scale with HP. Oh boy, you have a bunch of clones that don't take damage. I don't care. Just they don't need to have HP. Or if they're gonna have HP, they need to have ridiculous amounts to make up for the fact that, obviously. Now, of course, I'm making all of this suggestions and all this, but I do realize that this isn't meant to actually be a build, and I'm forcing it very heavily right now, but whatever. Other things we can do, we can run Fireball to apply Armor Shred and also Fire Resistance Shred. So that's another 20% more damage, I believe, on a boss. I think it's 20% or some shit like that. Yeah, I think it's 20% shred, so that's great. Um, and the biggest problem with it is, you can tell in the footage, the mages, they just die too fast. Even if you could make them do damage somehow, they just die too fast. Also, as well for Ignite, I think 1/3 of their attacks aren't really hitting. So that little vortex thing that they cast, it doesn't really actually do anything. It just does spell damage over time, which is funny. It doesn't actually do anything, which is sad. Um, so what are my suggestions to make this work? Well, my first suggestion, my second suggestion actually, because I already talked about the minion health scaling. The second thing would have, of course, give them the percent damage for at each attribute stacked. Obviously, the other thing is make them use your trees. So, like for instance, if they're casting Fireball, let them cast my Fireball tree. Who cares? They're they're the worst minions in the entire game, right? Except for Locusts. Locusts are worse than them, which is funny. Um, Also, as well, like you could have like your Lightning Blast tree, and they could maybe give themselves Lightning Ages, so they weren't completely squishy, right? They could actually do some damage. I think if they actually had their trees, I could probably like quadruple or quintuple my damage, which would be great. Another cool thing that you can do is since you were scaling off of ignite damage, we can run the conflagration node inside enchant weapon. That's really funny. Um, I really enjoy that. That's actually kind of hilarious that we can run conflagrate. Actually, when I went to the dummy to test this, I think I got a 200k conflagrate pop. I'm so proud of my men. They're great, great clones. Other things we do with this build, quote unquote. I'm using a vessel setup. So if you don't know, the regen node inside Runemaster is bugged and it's giving you like 10 times the amount of regen it should be, or at least the ward per second. So we're not using that. We're just using a vessel of strife. And let me tell you, when you're not killing stuff, vessel of strife feels so much worse than normal. Because the whole point of vessel of strife is to give you defense whenever like things actually hit you, and they're not supposed to actually hit you, for the most part if you're playing a good build. But we're not playing a good build today. We're playing Clone Mage. Yeah, there's like so many things they could do. You can get up to like 20 plus minions too, right? Like you can actually get a decent amount of minions out. The problem is, like I said, is first off, they die, and second off, they deal no damage. And the thing is, in my opinion, right, if that's all they need, they just need a few stat buffs. I think they would be a great addition to the game. Maybe make a unique per se, that like an amulet or something. Give them like a chess piece. I don't know, something like that. Uh, I think something that would give them kind of like to give them the static treatment where you like get 4% more damage per intelligence. So like right now, I am ticking for about 60k on the dummy, like with everything. If I had 400, if I have 78%, 78 intelligence right now, right? If I had 280% more damage, they would do like 180k ticks and they would do 600 pops on the dummy. And that would actually be enough damage for the most part. Obviously, still a little lackluster, but it would be competitive. So I really think that they should get like more damage per intelligence or something. Uh, Also, as well, it's really weird because you can't run minion health on your chess piece as a mage, obviously, because you're not supposed to be running minion stuff, which is annoying. So you have to run like intelligence and nothing else on your prefix, maybe vitality. I don't know. It's like it's kind of shooting for the wind at that point. I don't know what else to do. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Clone Mage. EHG, they wouldn't give us Minion Mage, right, with Runemaster, so I thought I'd force it into the game, and here it is. Don't play this build, guys. With all that being said, I'm going to go just wash the past few hours out of my mind. Maybe play a good build, hopefully. Uh, I give this build a lot of shit, but it's still better than Acid Fly. It's great. Well, with all that being said, this has been Dread. We're not going to go in game and talk about the build. I am going to put the planner, quote unquote, in the description, but all I have to say is don't fucking play this build. All right? Bye.